Whatever's killing those cows is in the drinking water. You ready to start fighting back?
Hello, welcome to our weekly film show with our critic, Lisa Nesselson. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Eve.
Welcome to the show. Now, we're starting with Todd Haynes' new movie, Dark Waters. It's the story of a corporate lawyer who switches from defending chemical polluters to defending their victims. Tell us more.
Well, this is a real-life thriller about how money talks and ordinary people are frequently expendable when the cash is holding the megaphone, as in $1 billion in profit each year for just one deadly chemical. Rob Bellott has recently been made a partner at a Cincinnati, Ohio law firm when Wilbur Tennant, a farmer from West Virginia, insists on seeing him. The gruff farmer is an acquaintance of Rob's grandmother. That's it. That chance connection sets in motion a literally incredible chain of events, because 190 of the farmer's cows died, because the children in his community have black teeth, and because Rob becomes obsessed with figuring out why. He learns things about the American chemical company DuPont and how the U.S. government isn't protecting citizens that are a chilling lesson in how the system is unquestionably rigged, but Herculean persistence can sometimes pay off.
OK, well, France 24 spoke to the director, Todd Haynes, about the challenges and advantages of depicting true events.
The challenges, I think, were more about how to tell a story that has so much to do with accumulation of data and discovery, and make it compelling for an audience so that they could weather the arduous process that Rob Bellott himself undergoes, but feel connected to the ultimate goal and the fact that this is really affecting the lives of people. Being around the people themselves was a tremendous opportunity and a humbling one, because they were able to be there for us, show us their homes, their lives, their places of work, and really open up.
They should see what they done.
You're right, they should. And it kills me that they won't. But that would mean going to trial and proving that C8 killed your cows. And every scientist who knows anything about any of this already works for these chemical companies. That's not an accident, Earl. Earl, these companies, they have all the money all the time, and they'll use it. Trust me, I know. I was one of them.
It looks gripping. How did the main character, Rob, bring the story to light?
Well, he combed through a warehouse full of documents, juggling things in his head for years, missed a lot of his 3 children growing up, and although his firm had nothing to gain by exposing DuPont's treachery, just kept at it year in and year out. When people plead for tolerance and compassion and they say we're all basically alike, well, it turns out that's true. We all, 99% of humans, have Teflon in our blood. Personally, I would prefer not to be related to nonstick cooking pans. Not only does this extremely well-told story put the legal profession in a better light than usual, it also reminds us that newspapers and investigative reporting matters a lot. When the New York Times story that inspired the film was published, Rob said, "Okay, now they can't kill me." This is a great detective story, an ode to intelligent obsession, and a warning to us all.
OK, that's Dark Waters. Next to Clint Eastwood's new movie. He'll soon be 90 and is still directing a movie every single year. The new one, Richard Jewell, is based on a true story about how the news cycle doesn't always tilt towards accuracy. Tell us more, Lisa.
Well, Richard Jewell was a 33-year-old security guard in Atlanta, Georgia, who loved law enforcement work the way most kids love ice cream. When the Olympic Games came to Atlanta in 1996 for their 100th anniversary, Richard got a job patrolling Centennial Park, a huge open space for concerts. On July 27th, he spotted an abandoned backpack under a bench, diligently followed protocol, although his colleagues thought he was really overreacting. And it turns out that that bag contained 3 pipe bombs. The explosion killed 2 people, injured over 100. It would have been far, far worse had it not been for Richard's eagle eyes. Overnight, Richard became a national hero, thrust into the spotlight, but mere days later, the FBI decided he fit the profile of the kind of guy who might have planted that bomb in the first place and then pretended to have discovered it in order to grab attention for himself. An ambitious female reporter publish that information, which guaranteed that the word hero would forever be in skeptical quote marks from then on. Richard entered the nightmare world of being a suspect, already convicted in the public eye for something he most definitely did not do.
Okay, sounds intriguing. Let's take a look.
The media has portrayed my son as the person who has committed this crime. They have taken all privacy from us. They have taken all peace. The FBI follows his every move and watches my home constantly. And why? My son is innocent. Mr. President, please clear my son's name.
Well, Clint Eastwood has actually made several fact-based films about American heroes in ambiguous environments, hasn't he?
Absolutely. American Sniper, in which Bradley Cooper played a real-life military sniper. Sully starred Tom Hanks as a veteran airline pilot who saved every single passenger on his plane doing a technically impossible landing on water, only to find his career in jeopardy for supposedly poor judgment. Now, Richard Jewell is really fat. He comes across as slightly retarded, and he still lives with his mother. But Eastwood takes the time to establish that Richard is a really good guy, so that the full horror of the error-fueled media circus that takes over is that much more shocking. In All the President's Men or Spotlight, other true journalism stories, hunches and legwork paid off in favor of democratic principles. But here the press's over-eager approach works against democracy, because if Richard is innocent, and we know he is, then that means the real domestic terrorist is still out there and may well strike again. The acting is superb. John Hamm plays the FBI agent in charge of the case, and he's really handsome and manly, so ordinarily he'd be the hero, right? But no, that's not true. Paul Walter Hauser as Richard is astonishing. Sam Rockwell is marvelous as his lawyer, who has a sign on his office wall that says, "I fear government more than I fear terrorism." Eastwood gives us a pertinent portrait of how hard it is to clear your name once that media apparatus and the tyranny of the news cycle gets a hold of you.
I'm surprised you don't have a T-shirt today saying "I fear government more than I fear terrorism." Okay, next to the Spanish-Chilean film director Alejandro Amenabar's new film While at War. The French title translates as Letter to Franco. It recounts the battle of an elderly academic and author who decides to speak out against the power-hungry Spanish general.
Well, this film shows us how insidiously General Franco, who's portrayed here as an almost mild-mannered, normal sort of fellow, came to power, which is definitely worth revisiting. Respected writer and teacher Miguel de Unamuno at first supported the nationalists, not realizing they would fan the conditions that led to the Spanish Civil War. He changed his mind eventually when his Republican friends and colleagues were being rounded up and summarily shot for dissenting. The film starts quite dramatically in the public square in Salamanca in western Spain, with soldiers and a declaration of war on July 19th, 1936. We see the mayor of Salamanca arrested in his home, and we meet widowed Miguel, who lives with his daughters and grandson and loves to make little origami figures.
Okay, well, let's take a look at While at War.
Todos somos españoles. El valor no solo se demuestra en combate.
So, Lisa, why make a whole movie about Miguel de Unamuno now?
Well, how do you fit a lifetime of convictions, a lifetime of intellectual rigor into current events as they unfold? People who grasp what's happening are reluctant to hand Spain to Franco on a platter. They suspect he'll be unwilling to give that power up ever. And they're right. What was supposed to be a temporary situation in the late 1930s led to Franco's dictatorship, which endured until 1975. Now, Miguel is deathly ill in bed, delirious with a high fever for 2 days. While he was out of it, Franco was declared head of state. Miguel rushes to pay a visit on Franco and his wife, and he pleads that Christians should really stick together. And Franco, without a trace of irony, tells Miguel that unlike the opposition, they treat dissidents very well. They give them a chance to make a proper religious confession before they execute them. It's a movie about ideas, and ideas are sometimes hard to film. It's methodical, the period recreations feel authentic, the stakes couldn't be higher. But the very fact that it's sometimes less than riveting to watch, I think tells us something about how hard it is to care, to truly care about and stay focused on how political machinations surround us. Fascism is as scary now as it was in the 1930s. The specter of dictatorship hasn't vanished just because we think it's in the past.
Okay, well, just before we go, the cultural centre, the Forum des Images in Paris, is giving a dead filmmaker programming carte blanche. How does that work?
Surprisingly well. Director Eric Rohmer was a pillar of the French New Wave as a critic and a filmmaker, and he came from a slightly noble family, and so he changed his name to save his parents the embarrassment of having a son in show business. You heard that right. I have a theory about Rohmer's films and why they were so popular in English-speaking countries starting in the 1960s. His characters speak so clearly in movies like Claire's Knee and My Night at Maud that viewers with only a mild level of French comprehension are convinced that they understand what's being said, and so they're predisposed to liking the movie. Oh, I understood that. It's excellent. The programming consists of films that Rohmer found important and or enjoyable, and it's all in conjunction with a new book, a 512-page anthology of his lesser-known writings.
Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. Now we're going to leave you with one of the films being shown, White Nights, from the Italian director Luchino Visconti from 1957. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Mi chiamo Natalia. Ed ora, presto, mi dica tutto di lei.
Notre-Dame-des-Landes, a small village in the west of France that has become a symbol of environmental resistance. At the heart of the battle, the creation of an exclusion zone to prevent the building of an airport.
On s'est battu aussi contre un aéroport, mais pour une société différente, et on continue à se battre pour ça.
The handful of activists who are still on site are trying to create a mini-society that is both libertarian and anti-capitalist.
À ceux qui restent, je leur fais parfaitement confiance. Quand on les voit vivre, ils ont une capacité d'initiative dont je suis toujours admiratif.
Notre-Dame-des-Landes revisited all this week here on France 24.